Action fanatics, welcome to another edition of the Bulletproof podcast. I'm your host, Chris the Brain, and we are wrapping up our back to school series that we've been doing the past few weeks. But I'm not doing it alone because I've got with me the Toyman, Chris DePetrillo.
That's right. The bell is ringing, but nothing is going to be able to save you from another Bulletproof podcast.
Oh, thank God you got that pun in. And how about Ryan Campbell back with us?
Yep, I just got back from some after school with the street tough kids that I've been teaching lately. They're all parts of gang violence, but I got through to them, Brain. We've been meeting after school, trying to get them out of those things. So, I just got back from that.
I'm very happy.
That, or it may have been my daughter's volleyball practice. I can't remember. It might have been the other way around.
Yeah, you're sleep deprived, so it could be anything, really. You may not have even left the house. You may have dreamt the entire situation,
Whoa.
but
he might be dreaming up this podcast. We're just the voices in his head.
Kind of like the final sacrifice, or no, the final sanction. Yeah, he had a voice inside his head as well, surgically implanted.
Do you think it's crazy that like some people don't have that? Like there are people that don't spend the entire day in an inner monologue with themselves. That's crazy to me.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah, what must that
can't
be like?
Be real. That can't be real.
I don't know. Apparently, some people don't have it. It's just quiet.
Do you know how many times a day Brain must say "bastard" in his inner monologue?
I say it out loud.
Oh, he's got a whole council of elders going all day in his head.
Yeah, I sure do. I've got. Yeah, no, it's never quiet in my head. So yeah. I don't know what we're doing, but the final sanction. That was a recent review I did over on bulletproofaction.com, along with the new Marco Zaror movie, Affinity. That one was up there. You could check that out. And I have not, as we're recording this, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm looking forward to watching the new Scott Adkins movie, Prisoner of War. But as this drops, it'll already be up on bulletproofaction.com, so you could check that out. And Ryan Campbell, while we're talking future speak, and as this show drops later tonight, hours away, one of your favorite things in the entire world, a penultimate episode.
Ooh, and this sets up to be a doozy, Brain. We got Alien Earth's penultimate episode tonight. Of course, it's the first season. It'll be interesting to see how they handle it, but they have been setting up quite a lot. I made a point in my made the reference that there are a lot of plates spinning on a lot of sticks, Brain, and we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Some shit's gonna start breaking here soon.
Oh, and you can read all about it as Ryan continues his coverage of Alien Earth, and then pretty soon I'll have to try to find something for Ryan to do.
It's been so good, Brain. Like
I know you like it. And I'm glad.
They
love it, really.
Like they could have really just kind of done, not to say the bare minimum, but like, it kind of writes itself. But the show's just oozes style, and it's fun and cool, and I don't know, it's just a really good show. It's really good.
Yeah, I love when shows ooze. The Secret of the Ooze, that was pretty good too.
That's coming back to theaters after the original did so well this past year. I think next year it's coming back to theaters. So I'll be back at the theater again to see some more turtles on the big screen.
Another secret is, what in the world will this week's No Surrender Cinema be? Will the Toyman give us a update? Or
inquiring minds want to know?
It's still a secret to me as well. I have been unable thus far to narrow it down. Obviously, by the time you folks are listening to this, I should have whatever I decided to review watched and at least mostly written up, because it'll be coming out in just a few days after you start hearing this podcast. But as of right now, at recording time, I really have not been able to narrow it down. I'm not sure what direction I want to go in for this week's No Surrender Cinema, as I trip over my words.
So does that mean you surrender?
No, I definitely don't. If I surrendered, I'd be like, I'm not sending anything. I pull a Chad Cruz. I'm not doing anything.
Oh my!
Shot fired.
Yeah, Toyman. I want to trade places with Toyman. Like, I just have to do 2 posts, and he has to do like 8 to 12, and he'd really be up shit creek having to figure that out. Or maybe it'd be easier because he'd be like, well, these are my 12 options, I'll just do all of them. I don't know.
Well, actually, Brain, I think
fresh new articles of the Three Stooges every day.
But I mean, there were some great fight scenes. But no, I mean, I think at least for one of this month's No Surrender Cinemas brain, we are leaning towards the hidden gem of DTV action that was finally unearthed yet again.
That
Uh,
is right. You
I
you
was
had
able
mentioned.
to find a copy, a US version of Terminator Woman. While that may not sound familiar to some people, its alternate title, I believe, was Sabotage, but it is a great gem starring Jerry Trimble, our old pal
Oh
Jerry
yeah.
Pelt from One Man
Hmm.
Army, and Karen Shepard from Mission of Justice. So I will be
Hmm.
rewatching that one. So I think it's pretty much a lock that one of the two No Surrender Cinemas yet to come this month will contain a review of Terminator Woman.
There you go. That's what I was setting you up for, but I thought maybe you had changed your mind. And yeah, you can read the review and see if it really is a gem or not, or if it's just a gem in Toyman land and Michael Kesey land.
Are there
He's the director of that, is
are
he
there
not?
babes in Toyman
Yes.
Land?
Oh, there's a lot of babes in Toy Man Land, but that's a different podcast for a different day.
They all look like Kelly Kapowski though, but go on.
No, they all look like Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh, okay.
I
All
accept your
right.
terms.
Even though I've only ever seen one full episode of Buffy.
That's all it took, I guess.
No,
They're
Uh,
my
reviving that.
my
yeah.
crush
Why
with
watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer when you could be watching Soap? I mean,
Soap is a great show. No, but no, my crush on Sarah Michelle Gellar started when I was 12 years old when she was on a show called Swan's Crossing that used to come on after school. It was like the kids soap opera.
That checks
of
out.
course, and we know you love soap operas,
I do. Also
like
starred
like
Shane
all the
McDermott.
kids did.
Not real soap
Oh
operas though. He likes derivative like forms from other genres of soap
no, he
operas.
he likes them all.
Okay.
He likes them all. He should probably have been on Bulletproof soap opera.
Listen, if you tried to turn off Days of Our Lives when my grandmother was watching it, you'd be disowned. She would excommunicate you from Sunday dinner. You don't mess with grandma and her stories.
I
Right.
understand, but okay, we're not going to go there already. It's too early in the episode to already just hate on everything. All right, so let's get into it. As I said, we've had a nice little 3 episode arc. Ryan Campbell likes when they do things like that. Of
Just don't release them all at once, you know.
right we've done a little back to school theme here, but I mean at this point some kids have been back to school for like a month, so I'm tired of this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
theme.
I got parent-teacher conferences soon.
So there you go. So we'll wrap it up, and we're going to follow up on what we did last week because we talked about The Substitute, starring Tom Berenger, and what more logical place to go than The Substitute 2, School's Out, even though it's in. This one was not a theatrical release, Toyman. This one actually premiered on HBO. It was a Saturday night premiere movie on HBO.
Yeah, back in the day, before they were so reliant on their original programming, we used to get some of these features that were purchased for HBO. Although it is my understanding that the initial concept was to have Tom Berenger return for the sequel
Yes.
for a theatrical release because the first substitute did so well. But not only did this one not get a theatrical release, it did not get Tom Berenger.
So, like, do we think these were going to be straight to video and HBO bought them and then released them, or were they like produced for HBO? Do we know?
No, my understanding is that they were produced for the rental market and HBO acquired them as some like original premieres.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think, when did like Stars become a thing? It was already a thing here in the late 90s.
As
So
far
you
as
have to admit,
widespread, it was like the mid 2000s.
Yeah, I feel like that's when
okay.
I started seeing it more.
So I was just thinking
It was
like,
probably
all right,
fledgling at that time, Brain. In
I was just
98.
thinking,
But you always
was it
had
like
like the Max Premium package, so you probably had Stars before anyone else
I
had
did.
Stars.
Well, that was
Premium.
the benefit of living at home. You can still you can afford nonsense. But yeah, I just was thinking like, you had HBO, you had Showtime competing for like these big theater, but that's the other thing. There's 52 weeks a year. You gotta pad your
They hadn't
movies somehow.
they hadn't quite figured out that the Sunday night drama was their bread and butter yet. at this point.
Yeah, that was because this was 98, and that's the same year The Sopranos.
I was going
did.
to say, was that kind of the first, like, hey, we own Sunday nights now with whatever our like
I think
prestige drama series is?
Yeah, that was definitely. Was Oz on before Sopranos?
I think
Yes,
it was.
Oz
I feel like it was
started in
kind of niche though.
97.
I'd heard about it, but I don't think it was like culturally as like, you know.
Yeah, you needed a couple.
Yeah,
in there.
it walked so Sopranos could run. Is what we're getting at.
Right.
There were
So.
two big things. HBO had Oz. They had the Spawn animated series.
Oh yeah, I remember everyone standing around the water cooler talking about that one.
And then Soap, and then they talked about
Soap. They're like, Spawn ended at midnight, and then I flipped over, and Nick at Night had Soap on. It was the best fucking Friday night of my life. Go on, Toyman.
No, I'm gonna let you hold the court. Like, come on, keep it coming. Keep the hits coming.
That was like the peak of Spawn's popularity, though, I will say.
I understand. I remember watching a few of those because I'm like, what is this Spawn nonsense? It was all right. All right. Well, anyway, this one was premiered on HBO, and the opening credits. We get the blackboard.
Are they credits? It seemed kind of more like a PowerPoint presentation.
Well, it may have been a little bit of both.
Did you notice the goof during the opening credits?
I did not. You were in it?
No, I said the goof, not the bald bastard.
Ding.
So, when they show the blackboard up in the corner, it shows Mr. Thomason written up top. Now, you could take this two ways. Was it a goof and they were showing the blackboard as to the character who's about to meet his demise? Or is it focusing on the main character who is a Thomason, but obviously enters the school under an alias, therefore he is not Mr. Thomason?
I assume it was for Randall Thomason.
See, I assumed it was for Carl Thomason, the main character, since he is the substitute.
You're an assume. Okay.
Before we get going too much, though, did you see that our alumni substitute actor Raymond Cruz was in the news last week?
No, I missed that. What did he do?
He was arrested.
Oh boy,
for spraying a child with a hose.
Was the child on his property?
I think he was out, from what I understand. I don't know if he was like washing his car or watering plants or whatever, and he asked her to move. I guess he was blocking something.
Mm-hmm.
I guess she either gave him lip back, and he decided to spray with a hose, which I thought was very substitute-like, Yeah. But he got arrested for it.
That's a shame. Especially when we know what Joey Six is capable of. He could have done much worse.
Absolutely.
Than spray her with a hose. No, I did not hear that. Hopefully he's taking care of that and doesn't get in any more trouble. So yeah, we get the opening credits. We get possibly a goof. I don't think so. Toyman does. That's fine. We get the thing is, subtitle school's out, so why not have the song Ryan Campbell?
Absolutely. It's like a kind of a different version, though, is it? Or is this like the original version? What?
I don't think it was the original version.
No,
even though that's what IMDb says.
Yeah, no, this was definitely a cover version.
Because I know the version I'm thinking of, but sometimes
yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, well, that might not actually be the original. Who knows? That happens often. That's just the one that I remember.
Right, that's the one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a cover. But yeah, when I checked IMDb, it just, obviously he would have the writing credit, but it said performed by Alice Cooper as well. I'm like, no, it wasn't. But that's why I don't have it here in these notes who did it, because I don't know. I'm sure somebody out there knows. So put it in the YouTube comments.
Somebody who worked at HBO in 1998 probably knows.
Oh, I'm sure. This was probably, They took home the file folder about it. So we open up with a car chase on the streets of Brooklyn, and it's two reverse hoodie wearing thugs chasing down this woman in a Porsche.
Not just any Porsche, probably like the producer of this movie's Porsche.
Oh, that could be. That's happened before. Jalal Mary.
You can always tell if it doesn't get wrecked.
Right. Jalal Mary used his actual car and blew it up. Did he not, Toyman? In one of those movies, I don't remember which
I respect
one.
the game if that's
he did,
true.
But I can't recall which one either. I'd have
They all blend together, right?
Yeah,
we'd have to.
Jalal. I mean, unless it's TC 2000 where it's actually futuristic, the rest of them all kind of
Right,
they're
because
all a
yeah, they
blur.
weren't driving sports cars in that one.
They were
No.
not.
No,
They were
motorcycles.
underground. They
Yeah,
had no need
motorcycles.
for them.
Mhm. Well, anyway, the woman eventually has to stop, and she's forced to get out. And it just so happens that Randall Thomason is on his way back from the grocery store, and he's like,
So
he's
it's
trying
those
to.
food deserts, brain. He's got to walk through that dangerous
Yeah.
warehouse district to get to the grocery store.
Mm-hmm. And he sees these guys, he sees what's going on, and he's trying to reason with them. And you really get the feeling like he knows who these people are, and they know who he is, despite their disguises.
Disguises that made them look like Charlie Brown on Halloween.
Exactly. But these negotiations, Ryan Campbell, they fail.
Yeah, and I have a beef with the movie that I wasn't even aware I had until much later in the movie. So put a pin in this, brain. We'll come back to it.
I can't wait. So yeah, the woman is shot, Randall is shot, and then Willie sees the whole thing. And Toyman, I have to admit, I was yesterday's years old until I realized that was Chuck Jeffries.
Yeah, Chuck Jeffries in a very small role as Willie. He does not see any action himself. Might end up on the receiving end of some later in the film. But yeah, Chuck Jeffries playing Willie the witness, which will come into play later on in Substitute 2.
Of course, Chuck Jeffries, like the Eddie Murphy of B-movie action.
Yeah, his IMDb page literally is just stunts, fight choreographer, stunts.
Well, let's not forget Honor and Glory.
Let's not forget Blood Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Or Blade. I'm assuming he played Blade.
Or Super Fights.
Super Fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have to do some Chuck Jeffries down. Well, we probably will eventually get to Super Fights. So yeah, Willie sees the whole thing. He calls the cops. We cut to the funeral scene, and we see Randall's teenage daughter, Anya, and she's being supported by one of Randall's co-workers and one of her teachers at Lemthrop High School, Carara. And then there's also a young gentleman who seems to be interested in Anya, Danny. He checks in on her, makes sure she's okay as well.
Danny's one of those like instant you see him on screen, you're like, oh yeah, he's a sleazeball. Like
like the Bob Evil feel again. Like you just know, like this kid's up to no good.
I know nothing about him, but I've seen enough movies to know bad guy in or just jerk off in movies.
He's not going to be good for her.
No, not at all. Right. Even though the way he's like macking on her at her dad's funeral is just kind of like weird.
Yeah, she's emotionally vulnerable. Let me go after her.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
By the way, Susan May Pratt from 10 Things I Hate About You is what I instantly tagged her from.
Very good, Ryan. Look at you.
When you start getting into these early 2000s, I'm with you on some of this.
This is 1998, but that's
well, I know, but that going into like when I started.
Saying, yeah.
And I'm going to go ahead and make another soap opera reference because Cara, Michael Michelle, played Dominique Devereaux on the remake of Dynasty that was on the CW several years ago.
Oh, no, not Dynasty again. Every kid loved Dynasty in the 80s, didn't they?
I mean, I did. Watched it with my family. They would take the phone off the hook. You could not call the house during Dynasty or Dallas.
Dynasty came on.
Put Grandma out on the porch. It's Dynasty time.
Dynasty came on. That theme song came on. My ass was in bed.
Oh,
so that's all I remember about Dynasty.
That's quite the dynasty.
Yeah, it's something. So yeah, right towards the end of the service, we see Carl Thomason, the man who would take over the leading man role from Tom Berenger. It's Mr. Treat Williams. And he shows up, and Anya's very surprised. She introduces him to Cara. Cara instantly wants his dick.
What's up with this funeral? It's just like a
a very horny funeral.
This is the horniest funeral I've ever seen on film. Well, Never
Well,
mind.
wait a minute, Brian. We don't know what else
World's
is in that
most,
collection besides Shaw
I'm
Brothers.
talking
books.
about mainstream film, I should say.
World's
Mainstream.
most horniest coming up.
I'm sure there was like
soon.
4 fuckings in a funeral or something in the porn world.
In a casket, bang me on the casket.
Exactly. I'm sure that's out there. I don't know anything about it, but I'm sure they exist. So, um, uh, so he finds out about Randall because he and his brother had kind of lost touch, and they might chime in here and there on a birthday, but they really weren't close anymore. And we'll find out a little bit more about that later. But we find out, or Carl finds out that Randall had worked at the special students wing at Lenthrop. And Anya then tells him that her dad was killed. She mentions his negotiate, don't initiate policy, which obviously was not useful for him at this occasion. And then she asks the $1,000,000 question: are you here to help me, or are you just passing through? Because obviously she's got this vision of her uncle that he's just kind of a drifter and goes from one mission to the next and hasn't really been there for the family, because obviously she's experienced that he has not been there for the family. So we do find
pressure
out
on
he's
Uncle Carl right there.
I mean, isn't that
Right,
kind of
he's
what
got-
uncles do?
I guess.
I mean, my kids don't see their Uncle Brain much at all. I'm just saying.
He's the worst uncle who ever lived. He used to be so good. Now, if he shows up, Lyle doesn't even know who he is. Emmy still has him on somewhat of a pedestal, or at least
She asks often if we can come visit
Yeah.
or come see you. So
yeah,
yes.
she still has me on a pedestal.
Go
For
spend
some
the day
reason.
watching soap with Uncle Brain.
I would not. I would get arrested like Raymond Cruz for child abuse. Come on now. So yeah, Carl does seem like he's kind of put on the spot, but at the same time, when he finds out his brother's murdered, I mean, yeah, you could maybe have some friction with but when one of your loved ones, Ryan Campbell, is murdered, you want to know a little bit more about like who, how, why, what's going on.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Bygones be bygones at this point. Like there's it's one of those things where you can feud with your family, but the minute someone else from the outside comes in,
Right.
that's it. We put it on pause. We got to take care of business.
Mm-hmm. So Carl decides, I want to take a little walk around this school, and some of the guys from the Brotherhood, including Dante, are harassing a young woman who's just sitting on a bench. And when they see Carl coming that way, though, it kind of disrupts that. But so they just hop in their car and then do the slow ride alongside him as he's walking. They call him an asshole, which is that directed towards me? I'm Carl Thomason. But then, Chris, it almost looks like this movie's about to be over before it started.
Yeah, they taunt him, and then instead of kind of going incognito, it really escalates, and they back up and they're about to take him out until Carl does a little tuck and roll and pops up into an armbar for one of the passengers in the rear, snapping his arm at the forearm and sending them scurrying away.
But why do they pull their mask? They just drove by him with their mask down,
Yeah,
and then they pull their mask up to back up and shoot at him. I don't.
Exactly. It's like, oh, we've got our masks on, but any witnesses didn't get our license plate because who would actually notice?
And we just keep driving this car around every time we do crimes with our masks on.
Yeah,
It was not a well thought out plan.
I guess they
Now,
are
did you mention
dumb high school kids.
Not did you mention? Did you notice who was in the car? Did anyone look familiar to either of you gentlemen?
Beyond
no.
Lawrence Gillard Jr., but that's the only one I don't know who else.
Well, I mean, okay, so did you recognize him from The Walking Dead?
I recognized him from Waterboy.
Oh,
I mean, I know he was in other things, but that's just like what I instantly know. Bobby Boucher.
Yep. I mean, he's been in a million things, but I thought
that's
that
just
maybe
what I instantly thought of. But
you're kind of the master of the ongoing TV series, so I thought maybe you noticed him from The Walking Dead.
No, I gave up on The Walking Dead after they got to the prison. That's a fascinating case study on The Walking Dead, where like that was must-see TV. I remember like going to people's houses every Sunday night to sit there and watch that, and by like season 3, not giving two shits. Like I don't even know. And that's like All of America at one point was just like, yeah, we're done. And then it kept going for another 7 seasons.
I was done after episode 1. I was just saying, zombies.
He actually became HBO royalty not long after this film. He was on The Wire.
He was.
Okay, very
He was
good.
on that show. And then also in the back, not the gentleman who had his arm snapped, but Eugene Bird, famous character actor. You might remember him from 8 Mile as the guy who screwed over Eminem with the record contract and also had sex with Brittany Murphy in the studio. He was
Oh
the guy that
wow.
caused Eminem to get jumped. But I always thought that Leo Rush, wrestler Leo Rush, looks kind of remarkably like him. I think there are a lot of similarities there.
Mm,
So when Leo Rush kind of popped on the scene, I'm like, oh, it's Wink from 8 Mile.
hmm. I thought you were about to say Diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster lean, but
Ooh,
you
ooh.
didn't.
I did
You
not.
didn't say that. But I thought you were. So yeah, he avoids the same fate that his brother did. Um, but after something like that, you're like, all right, I'm not going to be able to handle this on my own. Let me check the mercenary hotline to see if there's anybody
The
available.
Rolodex.
And who's there? None other than Joey Six, kind of. Not Raymond Cruz, now played by Angel David, and we find out he is now a New Yorker.
Oh wait, that's
Um,
supposed to be the same Joey Six.
yes, sir.
It's supposed to be. So, we sang the praises of the great Joey Six, Raymond Cruz
Yeah,
last week on the podcast. He was like Shale's go-to guy. He was the last surviving member of the crew along with
right.
Shale. So you'd think, okay, here's some carryover because not only was he a survivor, but this was also originally intended to be Tom Berenger moving on. But this version of Joey Six, who was supposed to be the same character, came off like a bit player from The Sopranos, kind of like
Yeah, and I
a,
know he name
you
dropped
know,
Shale, but I figured he worked with all kinds of different mercenaries, so it's just that was just a reason to kind of connect the tissue of the movies. I don't for whatever reason it never clocked with me that it was supposed to be the Joey Six.
It's
so
the Joey Six.
my theory on this is that this was a rough draft of what they ended up doing in the A-Team movie when the character of Lynch was actually kind of a catch-all for all of these like shady undercover operatives. They all used the code name Lynch. So maybe in Mercenary World, there's a lot of Joey Sixes out
I was
there,
gonna say,
and
is
this
it
was
like
a
James
different
Bond?
one.
Is it like a title like 007 or something?
So, I mean, this was very clearly supposed to be our,
Right.
quote unquote, our Joey Six, because he actually had a picture of Shale and Jane, who I
The
threw some shit
drop
on
dead
last week.
gorgeous Jane. Ah, she is a
I
beauty.
meant to bring that up earlier. If Kara did more for you than last week, Toyman, than Jane did last week.
Yeah, I mean, definitely more attractive. Carara, this actress always gave me Vanessa Williams vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah, sent it too.
she definitely does.
A lot of similarities
Um,
there.
here's my thinking, soap opera boy. You of all people should just accept that they fucking change who plays these characters with no need for explanation. Because they do that shit on soap operas all the
They do that all
goddamn
the time.
time.
They age the kids like 7 years after 6 months. Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Do they like change their like? I mean, it seemed like he wasn't even trying to portray the same character though. Like the mannerisms, the voice, the
Hey,
body language. Like I just,
when he's down in Miami,
I
he
guess,
really picked up the Latino vibe. When he moved up to New York, he picked up the Italian
I
vibe.
guess.
So there
He's a
I was
is
gonna
chameleon.
say he's a chameleon of his environment.
So this guy, Angel David, he's been in a couple other things. I remember him from The Crow. He was one of the little punks, not little punks, but he's one of the punks in The Crow. What was it? Skink, actually, I think he was in The Crow. But there is a it is the cheesiest wannabe mob show that's on streaming. It's on Prime and Tubi. It's called Gravesend. And my boss at Figures Toy Company actually turned me on to it because he likes a lot of the mob stuff, as do I. And he's like, you got to see this. He's like, it's like 1980s Brooklyn. It's kind of like over the top, but you might get a kick out of it in a so bad it's good type of way. And this guy looks like that actor. And to me, that actor is basically Michael Imperioli, Christopher on The Sopranos. It's like if Christopher in real life was on the drugs that he was on in The Sopranos, because the guy's acting is like so wooden and stilted. And this Joey Six, much more charismatic than that actor, but it was almost like a try-hard Italian vibe. Like it
Mm.
was almost like he was a caricature. You're supposed to believe he's like this big tough mercenary, and he just kind of came across like a guy from the block playing tough guy.
He's a trying not to a hard. Like that.
And that shouldn't offend too many people. All right, so no, there's no money in it for Joey Six, but he doesn't care because he's like, yeah, this is for your brother. We're gonna do this. I'm in, and that tracks from the original Joey Six as well. He was about doing what needed to be done. Carl has a heart to heart with Anya before going over to Kara's place for dinner. And
That was fast.
yeah, she wants this man more than life itself. So Carl asks, "Hey, who's taking over Randall's class?" Oh, they'll find somebody. Oh, can I be the substitute?
Ding 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 ding.
Well, sure. We just need to get you that. We just need a teaching certificate, just like the original, and we'll have to get you into the computer registry. Well, obviously, none of that's a problem, Ryan Campbell, because next thing you know, Carl is showing up for his first day at Lenthrop High School as Mr. Frank Perakowski.
Yeah, I feel like he even put less effort into it than we got last week. He just kind of shows up and is like, I'm doing this now, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And did you notice the name that he
Yeah.
uses is the
Yep.
name that Ernie Hudson kind of jokes with Tom Berenger with? Like Berenger's name in the first one was Smith, and Ernie Hudson is like, "Well, if your name was Perakowski, I'd remember you." So
Exactly.
nice little inside reference to the original film there.
That's right.
He must have talked to Shale. I mean, what are the odds that two guys that have worked together would hatch the same scheme on their own independently to pose as substitute teachers? So
Perhaps Joey Six put that thought. Like, this is what
That's
Shale
true.
did. So when Perakowski, aka Carl, gets there, he bumps into the shop teacher, Warren Drummond, played by B.D. Wong. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're in the special students. That's like this high school's version of Siberia." He points him in the direction to get in. You need a special ID. Then they check you for weapons. He also meets janitor Johnny Barty, who points Frank in the direction of room 406. And much like last week, when he opens that door, Ryan Campbell, it's more like a house party in there than a classroom.
that's right. We got boom boxes, and Brainy, you'd almost be you'd be remiss to think if you were just watching the same movie again.
And so again,
they went with a if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach to this movie.
Correct. You got that. He's asked, "Hey, can you turn that radio down?" But it's Dante who actually makes it happen because he's like, "All right, they've had their little confrontation on the street." He's like, "Oh, let's see what this guy's got to say." Frank then asks Soda Boy if he brought enough orange drink for the whole class, and obviously that didn't happen. I would like to mention that I'm drinking orange prime ice right now
in celebration. Yeah,
living the gimmick. Yeah.
Is it like in a glass bottle? That's like the shape.
It is not. I should have done that, but I didn't go that far. And he introduces himself, which we get the Mr. Perawutsky. Excellent. And then we learn our first lesson is going to be about mistaken perceptions. And we talk about the Cold War. We once again talk about Vietnam.
I love the lessons that these teachers give.
They're good. And then he brought a visual aid, Ryan Campbell.
That's right. And to honor that, I am currently playing with a stainless steel yo-yo as we speak here. But yeah, he
as
pulled
a toy or as a weapon.
Both. Depends on if my son behaves behind me.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, he is kind of walking up and down the aisles. I did like somebody in the background, one of the extras, been like, "What? Are you about to walk the dog?" I liked that. That was a good bit. There, some of the like cross chatter going on in the class. There were some good little bits in there, but and then he's kind of using it to describe how we won in some wars, but failed in Vietnam because we were too headstrong and we got run over. And then he uses it to break the bottle in the hands of so he's going right for it. He's not just he's not taking like the feel it out approach as Shale did, and then day 2 kind of went all in. He's like, I'm just gonna beat the shit out of these kids day 1.
Yeah, he smashed that bottle of Homeboy Mandarin Mango Blazer.
Ooh.
And basically the other lesson was learned was never judge a book by its cover. And Toyman, do you want to make a "you can't play with my yo-yo" reference now, or
No, I was just going to say, given that there was such an extensive history of it being used as a weapon in the Philippines, I'm surprised we never got any yo-yo action in a Sirio Santiago film.
That's true. That was a missed opportunity. So then Frank, aka Carl, goes outside. He's eating a sandwich. Brotherhood is watching him. Obviously, you need some air after a class like that, Ryan Campbell.
Yeah, it gets kind of stuffy in there. They probably didn't have AC in some of those inner city schools, so you gotta get outside when you can. Get some fresh air.
Then he goes up to the teacher's lounge and finds himself, Toyman, at a table full of sad sacks.
Yeah, but there was no Mr. Stillwell there.
No, but these guys would have fit
Saddest
right
sack
in
of
there.
them all.
Oh, these guys were the absolute worst part of this movie. And they're just like, they've given up.
Just dry and defeated. Made you feel like they were actually real teachers, just doing a little bit of
Yeah.
extra work.
And that's when Warren jumps in and is like standing up for Randall and what he was trying to do to those kids. And then Kara playing coy, "Oh, why don't you introduce me to this new teacher that I've never met before?"
Yeah, you can come teach my class a lesson.
Whoa.
And sex brain. And that's
I got you. Yeah, because she invites him over. Then once they get out in the hallway, she's like, "Oh, why don't you come over tonight, 7:00 on the dot in your drop top?" But listen, Anya is now walking home from school, and Danny boy, he's back. Ryan Campbell, he's got a nice new Mustang.
That's right. And they say about Mustangs is chicks dig a guy in a Mustang, but yeah, she is taken back by his car, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the charm or the car, but she's somewhat kind of smitten with him.
Well, and again, she is still, I'm sure, dealing with some things, and is probably looking for some attention and affection, and this guy's obviously willing to give it to her. Whatever it is, I bet she'd be willing to serve it to him. Now, listen, Carl and Six see this, but they're not there to be spying on Anya. They're there to watch what the Brotherhood is up to next. And what they are up to next, Toyman, is going to deal with Willie.
So Chuck Jeffries coming back, and it's not the comeback that you would think a skilled fighter such as Mr. Jeffries would have, because he's tied up and he's already had the shit beat out of him quite extensively at this point.
Right. And that part was like, okay, I can understand how I was. I'm used to Chuck Jeffries, again, being the B action movie Eddie Murphy and cracking wise and acting like Eddie Murphy and he's just barely does anything. And yeah, then he's just got the shit beat out of him. So I'll give myself a pass for not putting 2 and 2 together until yesterday. So yeah, they've got Tim tied up. They're using a pitching machine, Ryan Campbell, which I think I saw as one of the prizes on Classic Confrontation.
Oh, yeah. I gotta imagine that wouldn't be very nice to get taking those like right to the gut. That's gotta. I mean, it's creative. I like it. You can really hurt
come at you pretty fast.
Yeah, you can really hurt your hands just laying into someone. So like, work smart, not hard, I guess.
Toyman, we meet Little B, played by Guru.
Guru
who
from.
got like.
Nope.
Yeah.
What were we gonna say?
I was say he got like that end credit,
Yeah,
like
like
that
the
fan,
featuring Josh
and
Brolin as Thanos level.
right.
Yep.
He got
No,
that final credit spot, so he had a hell of a good agent.
Guru from Gangstar. Brain, you know this. Ryan, you may or may not know this. Gangstar is one of my absolute favorite music acts of all time. Just a amazing, influential hip hop group. I've loved them since I was a kid, and I knew Guru was in this, but it's been so long since I have watched this that I actually forgot. Oh yeah, Guru was in this. So it's kind of like a pleasant surprise. Like, oh, all right, like there is like at least one definite bright spot in here. Getting to see Guru, not as sleazy as Mark Anthony in the first film,
Um,
but still nice to see someone who I have appreciated since my youth up to this day taking part in this film.
So influential, Brain, that even I have never heard of them.
I've heard of them. You know who else was a huge fan of Gangstar?
Who's that?
There's 3 people that I know for sure: John Forsythe, Joan Collins, and Linda Evans. Now,
Oh, three great people.
yeah, okay. So yeah, it's not looking good for Willie. And Little B's like, okay, we've been good to you, we've cut you in, and you called the cops on us. Well, you're about to die. But that's about the time Carl and Six show up, and they're rigging something up. And then it's like, okay, Six, you go down there. Six interrupts. He's like, hey, Little B, is that for brains or balls? Great line. Great line, Joey.
Really throw them off to start the encounter, Get them on their toes or their heels, whichever. Take a pick.
And then he's like, do you know what an infrared laser sight is? And then he's got the dot on him. And then all of a sudden everybody's got a dot on them because they just got the scope. They don't have the actual, they don't have that many guns. But again, we learned about it just a bit ago, Ryan Campbell. Mistaken perception.
That's right. They give you make 3 men feel like 100 kind of thing,
Mm-hmm. So then he's like, I'm going to take Willie, and you're going to do nothing about it until those red dots go away. Little B's like, don't mess with my crew. I already did, because I'm freaking Joey Six, bitch.
From the other movie.
Right.
And he also just kind of pops a guy right in the leg,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, to make sure. Yeah, we mean business. We'll shoot
this
you
thing's
all.
loaded. Yeah.
Back at the Thomason house, Danny is desperately trying to get some. But that gets interrupted when Uncle Carl shows up, Toyman.
Yeah, no time for Nookie. See, everyone, I feel like there's been as much time spent on people trying to get some in the first half of this film as there has been actual action.
Yeah, this is again, very horny movie.
But it's like a PG-13 horny. It's not like we're seeing
it
constant nudity or anything like that.
That's why Ryan Campbell doesn't like this one as much.
There wasn't any in the first one.
No, but you're like, if the quality is going to go down, I
even
nudity.
Commented last week on how tastefully deceptive the strip club scene was.
This is one that, okay. Well, anyway, just so Anya knows, Carl throws out that Mustang comment. She's like, yeah, I know what you're up to, but I'm not your dad, so you do what you want.
I mean, for all her misconceptions or her issues with him sticking around, he doesn't seem to really give a shit about her at this point.
He's not very fatherly. He's like squatting in her house.
I mean, even like when Joey Six is like, that's what you should be worried about. He's like, I don't give a crap.
Right. Well, and he's obviously, yeah. I mean, I can understand because he hasn't been there. So it's probably kind of awkward for him. Like, should I say something? It's like, is that my place? What am I doing here?
But the movie can do something to show us that he is contemplating it or dealing with that internally, as opposed to just for all we can tell, he doesn't give a shit.
He's definitely got and we'll see this later even more so. He's kind of got the Paul Kersey policy on how to deal with interpersonal relationships.
We talk about often, show me, don't tell me. This movie neither shows nor tells.
That's right. Make it up yourself. So that night, the Brotherhood is back at it, stealing a car. Six is watching them. Dante and Mace doing their thing. Carl and Kara are spending more time together, and Kara trying to get Carl to open up either his heart or pants. She'll take either one.
Yeah.
Preferably both, I think she'd like.
Usually one leads to the other, but if you get one out of the two, then that's good evening.
Right. Yeah, exactly. She finds out that him and his brother were both mercenaries. They were on a mission together that went to shit, and that's kind of what was the thing that drove them apart.
Was the mission to get vengeance for the killer of their father who went flying through a window over a banister?
Oh man, let's go back and watch that movie, shall we? I mean, that No Retreat, No Surrender 3, Blood Brothers.
What a film.
Jesus. I love it. That conversation, though, between Carl and Kara is interrupted because a phone call comes in from our boy Joey 6. He's like, hey, you got to check this out. These guys took this car. All right, I'll be there.
I guess it really was Joey 6 from the original movie, because I feel like this one, again, he does 95% of the legwork.
Right. That's what you need a Joey 6 for.
Everyone needs a Joey 6.
Right. I agree. I would love to have I think I am somebody's Joe. I think I'm Chad Cruz's Joey 6, actually. Now that
you know what, if he's supposed to be the same Joey 6, in part 1, that Joey 6 got mad when Tom Berenger threw the drugs into the water. He's like, we get the money, we're not taking the drugs. But this Joey 6 is working pro bono to help his pal out.
He learned.
One of their fellow mercenaries died.
Yeah,
man.
That's right. The Brotherhood. Do it for the Brotherhood.
Right.
The good Brotherhood, not the Brotherhood that are the bad guys in this movie.
Right. Good. Thank you for pointing that out. And Ryan Campbell, use a better term next time. All right. So yeah, they're taking what's left of this car to the high school. Why the hell would you take? What's going on? I don't know. And then 6 is also like,
surely the shop class isn't secretly being used for some sort of illegal front. They wouldn't go back to that well again, would they, Brain?
Spoiler alert. Okay. He's like, also, you might want to hear this bit of audio that I have for you, where it's just little B's like, all right, we're gonna take care of that motherfucker real good tomorrow.
Clear, crisp audio. That was
very nice. That's mercenary tech. So the next day, Frank's like, okay, he's going in. He's like, all right, they're coming for me. I'll be ready for him. As soon as he enters his class, Keyshawn gets up and he's sick and has to leave. Oh, is he not feeling good? No, he's not.
Too much orange soda.
So Keyshawn goes to the fire exit and lets some hoods in. And then,
the school that we're told is completely separate, locked down with metal detectors and guards. Yeah.
I did think that. Why wouldn't you have a guard on the
check
fire
the
exit
back
door?
They don't check the back door, apparently.
No. So he does that. He gets the guys to go hide in the bathroom. At this point, we get another back and forth with the radio. And I'm going to tell you something. This is where we really could have used some guerrilla funk. Chris, that's one of the things missing in this movie, is there wasn't that one song where I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest song I've heard in some time.
I was going to mention that in the summary, but I'm glad you pointed it out now. We have Guru in the cast. We could have gotten some Gangstar. I mean, DJ Premier, the other half of Gangstar, he's remixed a million songs. We could have had a pretty solid soundtrack. Maybe he was one person in the cast here.
Maybe he was trying to get his acting career going, didn't want to be tied. I'm not just that man, kind of thing.
Maybe
this HBO direct my ticket out of the music scene.
R.I.P. Guru, one of the greatest.
Yeah, Mace even goes so far to call Mr. Pierkowski a cracker. And this brings up today's topic, Ryan Campbell.
Oh.
Impasse. Does anyone know what an impasse is?
You might say it's when the unstoppable force meets an unmovable object, Brain.
Thank you, Gorilla Monsoon.
Two conflicting forces are unable to, make heads or tails of a situation and get around whatever they need to. They're at an impasse.
They can't compromise, and when there's no compromise, the stronger side is going to exert their force and win, and that's when Frank, a.k.a. Carl, takes the radio and tosses it out the window. which causes Mace to jump up, pull a knife, and the classroom like, all right, make a circle. These guys are going at it. But Frank, he's got skills, and Mace finds out real quick and neutralizes every attempt Mace has on him. And it seems to gain a bit of respect during all this. After that, Frank's like, hey, where's Keyshawn? He's still not back. I better go check on him. Mace, you're in charge. So that's a big shocker right there, Chris. These guys were fighting moments ago. Now, Mr. Perakowski putting him in charge of the class.
Yeah, it was a little bit like, okay, like if I'm going to earn your respect, I've got to show you a little bit of it. So you take control of the
Right.
class, and I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Right. It wasn't like the previous where Jerome earned that right to be the leader of the class. So Frank goes into what one could describe Ryan Campbell as one of the world's most dangerous bathrooms.
I would say that, yeah, definitely kind of a different, really look like a bathroom. I don't know. One of the other issues that kind of had with this movie is it didn't feel like we were in a school. Like it felt like we were shooting on a set.
That's interesting because this was an actual high school in Brooklyn.
Then they didn't pick a good job scouting the location because
I think the reason they picked it was because it was not operating.
Yeah, the first one, I mean, it looked and felt like a school, like the hallways and the the shots and the classrooms.
You got to remember these are this is probably a very old building,
but it's this weird like offshoot, like with like high ceilings and just kind of looked weird. But he gets in there and he obviously he knows what's going on, but he gets snuck up from behind and then he proceeds to just lay all these guys out inside the bathroom, beats the crap out of them. And then randomly, you will never guess, Brain, what happens.
I guess I bet I could because I watched the movie, but go ahead.
Yeah, the janitor just pops out of a vent, all John McClane style, like,
a janitor Jack in the Box.
Just that. Let's just throw that in the movie.
That's how he gets around. He was a tunnel rat in Vietnam, and that's where he's comfortable.
I know they feel the need to spend the next few minutes trying to explain what the hell just happened in the movie. But yeah, that was really kind of like a wait. Did he just pop out of the vent and just?
And even Frank though, or Carl is like, "What the hell are you?" Another, and he's like, "Oh, wait a minute, no, you're the freaking janitor." Which is like that would explain how, but yeah, we also Keyshawn is like when Frank first goes in there, he's listening and he's like, oh, and he hears the fight and he's like, oh, that guy, and he comes back in the room. We're gonna need a substitute for the substitute.
Double dang.
That gets it going. And yeah, you point out Johnny the janitor pops out of the vent. He's like, hey, that was some Green Beret shit you were just doing. And they get into it. It's like, why don't you come down and see me later in the
apparently ex-military people, like high-end Green Beret trained people, are just a dime a dozen out in this substitute world. You've got everyone on every corner is some sort of special ops person.
Well, to be fair, the janitor feels like one of those people that you could argue was left behind after the war because he's very clearly not all there.
No, he lives in the basement of a school and gets from one place to another through the vents.
And stocks it with dangerous weapons and grenades. Yeah.
Indeed. Why not? So when Frank gets back into the class, everyone is surprised. And then it's just moments later the bell rings and they're like, tomorrow we're going to talk about Alaska. And that's okay.
That part was done better in part one when they thought that Shale was actually dead and then he showed up at school. Actually, it was done better twice because there was the library scene, the great library fight, where they shot him, and then Mark Anthony looks up. He's like, "Oh shit, he's still alive." So we actually got this scene copying two previous scenes, and this one was the worst of the three.
I mean, nothing's going to beat the kid playing taps for the man, and then he walks up.
Yep,
that was a fucking moment.
Who died? Movie. Well, I know I'm late.
So then after that, though, Frank has a heart-to-heart with Mace, and it's like, was that an expensive radio? Like, he was obviously willing to pay. He's like, oh, I stole it, so okay, so it was free. But then Mace is like, my dad's in prison. My little brother just was shot in a drive-by. I don't know where the hell my mother is. And Frank's like, well, there's more. This doesn't have to be your life, but as far as Mace is concerned, that's the only thing he knows. So it was a nice moment there where Carl is trying to get through to this kid, Ryan Campbell.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't buy it as much. I think the first movie did a much better job of like developing that empathy that would lead to him trying to get through these kids. This just kind of came up out of nowhere, you know. But it is nice to see, you know, one of the kids kind of get that push, and we're going to see that they do something. I think a little bit. They do a few things that I think were a little bit better than the first movie in regards to some of these stories. But
so then, after his chat with Mace, Frank does go down to see Johnny, and he has like a whole shrine to his time as the tunnel rat in Vietnam, and all his military memorabilia he collects. And he's like, yeah, when I'm here at night, I hear people coming and going at all hours. And by the time I go to see what it is, they're gone.
If these walls could talk.
Mm-hmm. So then he's like, hey, Johnny, you ready for some recon? And Johnny's all about it. But let's see what Anya's up to. And that's nearly getting run over before being harassed by the Brotherhood. What a world we're living in Toyman.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here between
Yeah.
Dante's crew and Little B and the Brotherhood, and something's going on at the school. The villains are too diverse. You know, with
Yeah.
the first substitute, it was, Mark Anthony's gang, and then we found out obviously there was like a drug operation in the school. Like that thread was connected, like easy peasy. This one, it's like, well, my niece is getting stalked by these guys, but I'm dealing with these guys in my class that hate me and they're trying to have me jumped and killed. And they know this other guy who's kidnapping mechanics because he witnessed shit that went down with the Brotherhood. It's like too I don't want to say it's too overwhelming of a plot. It is still a very simple action movie, but there's a little bit too much.
It's
They needed to trim that a
unnecessary.
little bit.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
not. It's.
exactly.
I mean, it's a little much, but I feel like you could still get there. But like, it's almost like they don't try. Like stuff just kind of teleports and things just happen. Like, you know, just to
Hmm.
move the plot along, and people just show up in certain spots, and then they do that thing where like you see a character in a scene do something, and then we cut to the next scene, and it's that same character like in a completely different location. Like we didn't get anything to buffer those two, and it's like they just teleported. And I don't like when movies do that, and they do that quite a bit in this one.
Or like the boyfriend. Like we've only seen the boyfriend when he's trying to bang the niece. Like we're not
Right.
really hanging out. We're not really hanging out with him in school or anything like that. It's
And even
always like,
even this one, like there's never like a scene where they make the connection or they decide that they need to like intimidate Anya, or like it just happens. They just pull up on her and are like, ah, and then get back in their car and drive away. It's just like,
yeah, like a
okay.
random act of violence.
Right. And you would think, like, did Danny tell them about it? But Danny isn't really with. It's muddled. So when Carl gets home, she tells him what happened. He's like, okay, you're not going to school anymore until we get all this cleaned up. I'm putting you on lockdown. Somebody could bring you your assignments. Blah blah blah. That night, I got to go out because he's got to go do his recon at the auto shop. So Johnny's there to show Carl the way, and Joey helps give him a boost into the vent, and there we see it. Warren Ryan Campbell.
Oh,
He's running a chop shop with the
they did
Brotherhood.
get me with that one. I didn't expect that. Was a little twist that got me. But yeah, he's the one running the chop
Yeah,
shop.
I was gonna say Warren is not as obviously evil as Rollet was in the original.
But BD won't, and he does. I mean, he's got that range where he can be like the sympathetic, like teacher with a heart of gold, trying to get through the kids, but then also play a pretty compelling villain. So, like, I think that's a pretty excellent casting. But yeah, that was a little bit of a shock. I did like how they're like in like the main lobby, like of the school, and they pop off the lid, they hoist him up. He like peeks his head in, and suddenly he's looking at the shop, and then just kind of backs out. Like the shop is just right on the other side of that wall of lockers. You know, it's, I don't know. It's just, again, more like teleporting just to get the plot moving.
And during that, while Carl's watching, there's a call coming in from Dante, and apparently that night's car thievery did not go well at all because Mace is dead.
And I give the movie credit for killing Mace in the way that it's tragic that there was a kid that wanted to get out of this life, and there was like a spark there. He talked about how his dad's in prison, or
you thought he'd have a redemption arc.
You're right, and for it to be snuffed, right, and for it to be taken away, it's like it should be a tragic like moment for the story, but it happens off screen over a phone call, and to the point where like I had to be like, oh wait a second, no, was that the kid with the boombox? Like was that like I had to connect the dots myself, so it couldn't even resonate with me because I had to be like, no, yeah, I think that was that kid, and then of course they cut to the classroom and everyone's somber, but like it was unearned. I feel like I appreciate them going for that emotional beat, but man, did they miss on the execution.
It happened too quickly. Like he just turned or had that glimmer of like, I could turn this kid.
Yeah.
I could
and
turn
there wasn't like
around.
a scene maybe there was and they cut it, but like not a scene in the car where he's like, hey man, I don't really want to go and do this. I'm thinking about, I want to get into,
or this is my last one.
Right.
I'm not doing this anymore. Well, I'll do this one more and then I'm not doing it anymore.
And then, and then, the circumstances and he died. Like, no, we cut to the other guy in a phone booth and he's like, he's dead off screen. And it's like, okay.
So yeah, it's a somber mood in class the next day, and it's like Frank's like, does anyone want to say anything? And everyone's just like, what are you gonna say? I mean, but then Dante speaks up, but it's no flowery eulogy, Toyman. He's not saying beautiful words about his friend.
No, he's talking smack. He's still the hard ass. He's still got to kind of represent and be a badass, while everyone else has been kind of sitting there speechless. And then when he finally speaks up, it's like, yeah, is this the direction we want to take this? And it doesn't really sit well with Carl, and they have a little bit of a standoff over it.
I will say to his benefit though, like it is very clear that this is more of like a defensive, like he's
defense mechanism.
Right, like he feels guilty, or he doesn't like his lashing out is different than was earlier. It's being played different. This is coming from a place of extreme guilt and like, what am I supposed to, blah blah, like, got himself killed,
And if he really said, he'd probably be crying.
Right. You feel like that's what he wants to do. So props for the acting there from Lawrence Gillard Jr. there. That there is a noticeable difference in like his delivery this time around.
So now Carl's going to go to Carara, the computer expert, apparently, of the school. If she could run some background info. Like, why would he need her? Like, he is a mercenary. You would think he'd have other connections.
He's got Danny 7 for that. It's a computer. Yeah. He's the computer guy usually.
So yeah, she's like, okay, I'll do it. You can come pick it up at my place. This woman is just looking to get this man in her apartment.
She is on a mission, Brain. She might be the most dedicated person in this film.
She mentioned like she was, dated his brother for a while, but then they just kind of ended up being friends. She's got a thing, Toyman, for Thomas and Dick.
Yeah, the women. Well, can't even say the woman because Anya's been kind of putting her boyfriend off. But I don't know. I mean, Jane wasn't even all over Shale this much in the first one, and he had been gone for a while on a mission. And this chick really just met Carl Thomason, and she is just ready to jump those mercenary bones.
And so Joey 6 pops over to the Thomason house, reading the newspaper with his sunglasses on. And shortly after he arrives, Kara calls, like, I got that info. And Carl's like, okay, they'll be right over. And boy, it's like somebody pissed in her Cheerios. She was getting ready.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. Who are you bringing over here? You may. Never mind. When there's a knock on her door, and again, so we have to, I guess, assume enough time has passed that could potentially be Carl at the door. But it's not. It's that no good bastard Warren.
Who she also said that, he tried to get with her, but she...
oh, yeah.
Man, for as thirsty as she is, she must really not liked him.
Yeah, that's bad. That's like the guy from 10 to Midnight. That girl, she slept with all these guys, but she didn't want anything to do with Warren. His name was Warren, too.
Must be something about the Warrens.
Son of a bitch. Oh my God, that's something.
There might be
All
an
right, so
expose
listen.
for the site. What is it
Yeah.
with Warrens?
Yeah.
And having no
What's the
Riz.
deal with Warrens? Her plan to her plan to get some dick was spoiled, but now her plan to be alive is going to be spoiled. Because Aaron's like, "What are you doing?" Oh, Frank, he wanted me to run the background on you. Oh, what else? Oh, he's actually Randall's brother. Okay, now I'm going to shoot you.
Pew, pew, pew. More silencers.
Yeah. And while this is going on, Anya decides, okay, I'm going to defy my uncle's wishes that I stay here because I want to go give Danny some blue balls.
She had to get that bored and locked in to finally.
Yeah.
And even then, she pulls it back.
Yeah. Yeah, she does.
I do like the addendum to Warren's evilness that he wipes his bloody hand on the teddy bear.
What a bastard
Like,
move, huh?
yeah, like I think that was like a dick heel move. Oh, but then if you notice, he only wiped his palm and the top of his hand was still covered in her blood.
Odd, though, to also leave such evidence at the crime scene.
Yeah, especially for being a trained mercenary.
Yeah.
Brian, I
So
just looked
that
it
was
up. HBO Real Sex started in 1990.
Okay.
So we had established that HBO was willing to go there.
Yeah.
It's kind of odd that this movie is preserved.
When did the taxi cab confessions come?
Probably about that
That was
same
like
time.
90, that was like 90, no, that was like later. That was like mid to late 90s, maybe like 96, 97.
Okay.
So this was like peak HBO smut, So like,
Yeah. Yeah. This was
did they air this at like
high-tier
7
smut.
p.m. or something? I don't know.
No. Please. Okay. So yeah, Warren almost runs into Carl and Six on his way out as they're coming in, and then he's like, "Oh," he calls his boy Little B. He's like, "We got to get this fucking guy dead. Just get him. He needs to die." We go back to Danny's. Danny has just given up on getting some, and he's like, "I'm gonna go take a shower." I would presume it's either going to be a cold shower or one part of his body is going to be extra clean.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or both,
Maybe both.
Maybe
Yeah.
he will clean. He'll have a real clean
Real thorough
appendage.
cleaning.
And
That thing is going to get cleaned up and down, back and forth, many, many times, and then let's cool off with refreshing cold water.
I'm not sure
Toyman, you
what
have something to say about this?
yeah, and appropriate enough because I am the toy man. I'm not sure what the set designer was going for here because Danny's supposed to be kind of like this like streetwise badass kid, like like I'm on my own, like I'm trying to get laid. I got
Yeah,
this hot car, and the condoms were next to an action figure on his nightstand, and he had several more
the
set up and
Godzilla
Yeah,
figure.
displayed
yeah. I instantly clocked the
on.
Godzilla figures that were all on the top of his headboard.
So I'm like, okay, like I mean, I'm a collector, Brain, you are as well. We have our displays and our setups and stuff like that. But action figures in the bed, that's usually a big no-no.
I think the implication is probably like he's a boy trying to play like a man is what I would imagine. Kind of like almost kind of like early, kind of a lot of the incel behavior that we see now being such an issue with, young youth, but kind of, on the kind of like maybe nerdy neurodivergent scale, but like wants to be a tough guy, wants to be seen as a man. And
He's a poser.
yeah, kind of. So I think that's kind of maybe what they were going for. But again, movie star is hell, I gotta tell you.
So yeah, Anya's like, well, we won't need these condoms after all. So she's going to put them in the nightstand, and that's when she spots her dad's Special Forces medal.
Movie did more visual storytelling in this particular scene than in the entire movie combined.
Then she's like, what? So then she hops up out of the bed and goes start looking through Danny's closet and finds the hoodie with the eye holes on the back.
Here's my beef, Brain.
Okay.
I didn't go back and watch the beginning, but I certainly didn't get the implication that either of those two guys in the beginning of this movie were white.
That might be a you problem, Ryan
I have to go back
Campbell.
and watch it, But
That might be a you
this
problem,
doesn't
Ryan.
feel like
You're making assumptions.
this doesn't feel like one of those like, oh man, if you go back and see it, yeah, the clues were there. This feels like a cheap turn.
Maybe they were going to do the plot of Soul Man and forgot.
I don't think that was the case, but anything is possible, I suppose. So yeah, so Danny now comes out of the he's done with his shower and whatever he was doing in there, and he's like, oh yeah, I did it for the Mustang money.
For as good as the BD Wan turn was, this one was like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, and they brawl, and if you thought did he have like a gumball machine in
it? Was like a glass, one of those thick ass, like Crackle Barrel jars of gumballs. Yeah, it was one of those.
Yeah, if you thought the Godzilla figures were a bit.
He actually stole that from like a local restaurant. That was like first.
The Bob's Big Boy. Yeah. got stolen. Yeah, so the two brawl. Anya kicks his ass. He's stupid. He's one of the weakest villains in the history of villainy. And now Carl and Six are at Kara's place, see her dead. But they also find the file that she pulled. If she would have just called and told him that information instead of trying to get his penis, she might still be alive. And we find out that Warren is also a former mercenary. And this is where I really established that this is Paul Kersey walking away from Miss Davis blowing up in his car after slowly rolling down a hill level of, oh well.
Maybe he was just getting close to her so he could stay close to the action and what was going on.
I mean,
maybe she was just part of the mission.
Yeah, honestly, we never got the sense that he cared that deeply. I mean,
no, she definitely
she did. Yeah, it seemed like a very.
If it was the other way, if it was the other way around, she'd be on a suicide.
It seemed to be a little bit of a one-sided relationship where maybe he was just like, well, it's nice to have someone to talk to,
right,
and nothing else,
right. So Carl, he goes back home, and Anya, it's like, oh, Danny's the one who killed. So what happens to Danny? I would assume they report him to the police at
and like, why? So she tells him that about Danny, but then like and the next scene, the finale, it's like he doesn't know that information.
Yeah. And she's also like, when will this all be over? And I imagine that's probably what Ryan Campbell was asking himself as well. And then Carl responds with soon, very soon. And this now, Toyman, is when Lenthrop High School is about to become a battleground.
Yep.
As Carl
for the climax, just like the first film.
Carl, Six, and Johnny, they're going to take on the Brotherhood. So they are outnumbered, but those villains, so outclassed.
Yeah, we've got, two wily veterans in our mercenaries, and then we've got the wild card with Johnny the janitor. And it's not long before he's even busting out some of his knockout gas to take out these cretins.
You could almost say it was some guerrilla warfare Viacom-like strategy they were using. On his home turf where he knows the ins and outs and is laying traps.
Yeah. But they get pinned down. They like, oh, we're away from the vent. But they use that methane gas, and that's a good moment there.
It wasn't.
The bad guys blow themselves up.
The guru, Little B, the flashbang or whatever goes off. He's pointing the gun directly at the head of Carl. Yeah. And like as soon as the thing goes off, he just decides to just turn directly to his right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, that I would, yeah. I'm just talking when they take that gas and then blows the door up, and when they get down to that basement, it's it could have been better. But once they're down, Little B then does spill the beans about Warren and all the stuff, how he was behind all the kinds of shit.
After just getting pumped full of like 10 bullets.
Right. So now the Brotherhood's dealt with, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I got to go to shop class now. And Warren, apparently this is during the school day.
Yeah,
because
I had
Warren
no
is-
idea.
Yeah, I didn't either. But he's
The
got a
overnight
class.
struggle has bled into the
like,
school day now.
I was like, did a night pass? Is this the next day? Like, why would you do this during school? There are kids here. What are we doing?
Yeah, well, what they're doing is, so Carl calls out Warren for killing Kara, and he's like, all right.
Doesn't even be like
and-
try to make up some bullshit excuse to get the kids out of there. Nope, we're just gonna do this right here.
Right. And so if you're out there, folks, and you ever thought to yourself, God damn, I'd love to know what would happen if Treat Williams and B.D. Wong had a knockdown drag out.
Do we have the film for you?
Boy, you want to check out The Substitute 2, School's Out, because these guys go at it, and the students, Toyman, they are just in awe of what they're. I mean, think about it yourself if you were just in school and like two of your teachers just started fighting. How awesome would that be? But also, it's terrifying, probably at the same time.
I'm sure they're used to seeing the students fighting, but not the teachers.
Right.
Well, I was going to say that too, and especially because some of these kids, I mean, you would think, the kids that are involved, the chop shop, whatever like that, they'll be like, oh shit, like, maybe like a deal went south, like that's why this is going on. But what if, you're just like some Johnny come lately who's taking the shop class? You're like, wait, why is my teacher beating the shit out of this substitute? Like, what is going on here? So it was almost like the reaction was just kind of like, let's just step back and watch it happen. It's like when they brawl into the crowd in wrestling. Everyone's like, all right, it's part of the show. Let's just sit back and watch.
Speaking of wrestling, I did love the big back body drop that Carl gives to Warren, and he smashes on the hood of the windshield. That's a nice moment.
Yep.
Then Carl hits him with the fucking muffler. That's beautiful as well. Action is spilled outside at this point.
I thought I was playing SmackDown Here Comes the Pain on the PS2 here, Just...
Warren, he's got a giant screwdriver. He gets Carl in the shoulder, but he pulls that out, and then he takes that same very screwdriver and screws Warren royally right in the guts. And justice is served. Six jokingly asks what Carl has planned for third period, and then he's like, all right, I'm out. Peace. And Dante kind of splits the Red Sea for Carl and Anya as they kind of limp their way home, showing that respect has been earned. Dante respects Carl, Thomas, and Toyman.
And there were nothing was paid for his friend's death.
Yeah, and does that mean that Dante's going to tell the cops, like, nah, man, we ain't seen nothing happened here. There was no substitute here. Like, does Carl Thomason just kind of, I would say, off into the sunset, but it's more like right off into the sunrise since it's morning time in the middle of the school day.
Yeah, probably. And yeah, where's like the principal of this school? Like, who's running the show around
Yeah, there's
here?
not even like a wacky secretary or we got this. I'll look at the sad sacks as you put it, but we don't get even like a teacher other than Carara trying to get railed by this guy. We don't get like so how you liking it? How you handling these kids? Oh, you should do this. Like no sage advice from a longtime tenured teacher or anything.
Right.
And they established that like the other part of the school is a pretty normal school. Like this is like the bad kids section of it. So there's never like a subplot of like, the cast off kids. No one cares about them. Like they're the, put on the side of it. I don't know.
Dredge of society.
Right.
Well, after that, we close things out. Carl and Anya visit Randall's grave. Carl puts the medal on the grave. Anya brings some flowers and is like, hey, I'm keeping the house. There's an extra room, so you always have a place if you're around. So that's how we end it. I don't believe, by my memory, that Carl Thomason ever goes back there in 3 or 4. But we get our end credits. Ryan Campbell, your final thoughts.
I tend to give a lot of leeway to movies. I like movies. I especially like when they, have a vision and whether they hit it or not, points for trying. This is just a very lazy movie. It doesn't really change the formula from the first. I would argue it's almost a Timu version of the first. It's almost beat for beat the same thing as the first, but the first one had like a sense of sincerity to it that you could sense the movie was putting out there that, permeated through the whole thing. And it's just not there in this one. And again, just lazy writing, lazy execution. BD Wong was really good in it. I'll give it to BD Wong. I liked them killing off Carara and killing off Mace, but both were kind of done again, just haphazardly, just to get to the next scene. Just not very good. And I could give them if they just went like balls to the walls sequel, take the premise of the first and crank it to 11, but it doesn't even do that. It's pretty much the same movie, but significantly worse.
Yeah. Toyman.
Definitely a step down from the first one. The first one, I mentioned it on the podcast last week. I love that film. I did not hate this one, or I did not look at this one as with as much disdain as Ryan Campbell, but it feels much more like a made-for-TV movie than something that had the intentions of a theatrical release. Like this doesn't even feel like a video store rental. This feels almost like it's homogenized and kind of dumbed down.
And I think
There's a little bit of cursing. There's not a ton of blood. There's no nudity. All the sexual stuff is implied. Everyone's clothed and everything. So this almost feels like something that could have been on TNT.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. I mean, we cover so many direct to streaming, direct to VHS movies that, despite the budget, despite the constraints, are fantastic. We just talked about No Retreat, No Surrender 3, Blood Brothers. And so I almost feel like that's not an excuse for it. It does kind of like I would compare it, Toyman, to a Disney Channel movie and like the execution and attention that's paid to it. So not obviously in the content, but I mean, not even that far off, to be honest with you.
I mean, I don't think we're ever going to get Stitch in the substitute, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's definitely a step down. I like Treat Williams. I think he did good.
But he
But
also comes across now. I mean, I have the whole franchise on DVD, and overall, it's a good time killer. It's like Saturday afternoon, rainy day, popcorn movie type of stuff. Um, Treat Williams, I almost think he gets a little bit better in the other films because we've gone from grizzled Tom Berenger in the first one to where Treat Williams actually feels like a genuine nice guy substitute teacher as opposed to I can kill you with my bare hands.
mm-hmm.
Is he trying too hard to be Tom Berenger, do we think?
I think he brought his own style to it. And again, I liked some of the stuff. I mean, most of the stuff he did was fine. The conversation with Mace, his interaction with even Joey Six and all, like he came off as like cool and like, okay, this guy's he thinks about what he's doing. He's calculating, and he was fine, but it just all didn't fit together. And everything is a step down. BD Wong was fine, but he's no Ernie Hudson. We don't have a freaking William Forsythe. We don't have all these familiar faces from action movies of the past. And
I think they're again to keep
Drummond. It wasn't until the third act where they really focused on Drummond as being this evil
right.
bag. It's like you saw him for like 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden, oh, Drummond's running this chop shop.
Right. So yeah, even as good of a job as he did, everything was rushed.
You could have put a few scenes in there of Drummond trying to like help him or like, that to kind of lay the groundwork that he is the good guy, especially just opposed to the first movie where we had the nice guy teacher ally, and this movie is so similar. Like it, you just instantly think, okay, that's the role he's slotted to play. And then there's the twist, but they don't invest the time there. They don't invest the time with Mace, which I feel like there was a lot of gold there they could have mined, and they just kind of didn't care enough to really go for it. But they're too busy having Carara in heat the entire movie, man.
Exactly. Like, the first one, you like Shale and Rollet, there's like they're button heads, not like like almost immediately, not where it's like, oh shit, these guys are gonna fight, but like they're the two alphas of the school,
Right.
And something's gonna have to give sooner.
You could
or
say,
later.
Brain, they're at an impasse.
You're
right
right.
there
I
for
could
you,
say
movie.
that. I could have. But here it's like surprise. BD Wong is this week's villain of the week on Substitute the series on Canadian television.
Gary Robbins.
Speaking of that, I'm glad that Gary Robbins would have also been on if it was a series. Canada did love to take 80s action movies and turn them into series. That could be a whole podcast in and of itself. But and that's another thing I liked about it. Like they actually filmed this in Brooklyn, and it was authentic Brooklyn, not someplace pretending to be Brooklyn. Just like they shot everything in Miami.
I don't think it really felt like Miami. Brooklyn, though. It was all. It just. I don't know. If they did, I believe that you did. That I believe you that they did, but even then, with that benefit, they managed to I don't think take full advantage of it because other than a few shots of the skyline, I never it could have just been on a backlot in a warehouse or something for most of the movie. All those carjacking scenes seemed to take place on the same stretch of road.
I would assume budget probably had something to do with all of that.
But if you're shooting in Brooklyn, use Brooklyn.
But who knows what they had? But I would assume they had to have permits. I don't know. I did enjoy that it was not just it did feel to me like it was New York. I mean, I'm not a big time New Yorker, so what the hell do I know? But fine. We can agree to disagree with there. But again, this movie, everything, it had no gorilla funk. When that song, and that I will make an announcement to no one at my house when that song comes on. That I will tell you what the meal of the day will be.
Pizza just shows up at the house even if you didn't order it.
I wish I would be playing it all the time, especially if it was free.
Attention, Remo! There are treats and pizzas here.
We're gonna have some hot dogs today. Maybe some potato chips. I don't know. You'll find out at come noon. Be ready. Yeah. It just to what you mentioned earlier, Chris, you had hip hop people involved. The soundtrack is a step down. The bad guys suck, or they're not developed. What happens to Danny? There's loose ends. Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it. It probably sounds like I hated it, but yeah, it'd been many years since I watched it. I'm like, it's not the same feeling I had last week when I'm like, oh, I need to watch The Substitute more. I don't need to watch The Substitute 2 more.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if we watched it and if we watched it 2 months after the original, maybe, but when you're watching it the week after, and it is so similar but falls short in so many ways. It's
this is definitely not going from Kickboxer to Kickboxer 2.
I was just going to say the same thing. This does not have Kickboxer 2 status. This is a visible step down. And Treat Williams, like I said, I think he's a little bit better in 3 and 4, and he does play the same character, so we actually do get some overlap there. It's not like he's trying to be a different mercenary or anything like that. But this one, to Ryan's point, I think that, and let's not act like the first one was some great, super memorable. A lot of people forget about that movie. It's just action fans like us that remember that one. But I think that first one, it really did do a good job of capturing what it needed to in that 90-minute, 100-minute runtime. And this one, it's basically trying to take that formula and move it to New York. Okay, maybe that would have worked for Tom Berenger, but now you're replacing this guy. I feel like it just feels like an unfinished script.
Yeah. Or a bunch of versions of the script jammed together.
That too.
Oh, I like that in draft 1, and I like that part of draft 2, and I like that in draft 3. All right, well, put those 3 things together, and things are rushed, and
they just needed a movie for 8 p.m. Sunday night on HBO, apparently.
Saturday night. Yes. But there you go. So Substitute 2, not anywhere near as good as the first Substitute, but still worth watching if you're going to go down the substitute rabbit hole. You may as well watch them all. But we'll go back to the substitute land one day, but not anytime soon. Thanks a lot, Treat Williams.
I feel like
rest in peace.
I feel like we owe it maybe to do another one down soon. That's one of the better
we'll
movies.
Definitely pick it up. There's going to be a back to school season again next year, as far as I know, unless they just say no, we're not going to school anymore.
Honestly,
but I don't think that's going to happen. But we'll be back with that. But you can let us know what you think about the substitute movies. If you might think we're way off and this is the greatest movie of all time. I doubt anyone thinks that, but if you want to tell us that, you can on social media at Bulletproof Pod on X and Blue Sky, and at Bulletproof Action on Instagram and Facebook. And of course, we also encourage you to check out our YouTube channel. And you might be listening to this podcast on YouTube right now. And if you are, we appreciate it. And feel free to leave a comment on the video.
Exactly. Hit that bell, like, thumbs up, all the things. Drop a comment. We certainly appreciate it. All of it helps with this monster of an algorithm that we're constantly battling.
Next time, gentlemen, we are really going to go in a completely different direction. Earlier this month, I had the pleasure to review Fearless Dragons, the latest classic kung fu movie from Severin Films, and it features one of my all-time favorite kung fu superstars, Beardy. Well, we're going to watch probably Beardy's finest moment. We're going to watch The Thundering Mantis.
No idea what that movie's about.
You're going to... I don't know. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one for you, Ryan. I've never pulled you into the classic kung fu world. But you're going there next week because we're going to watch The Thundering Mantis.
I hope it has a bunch of like factory workers that are just looking to get money and women so they can leave the town.
No, that we've already done that movie.
This one has those movies.
I'm led to believe that they're all like that though.
Well, this will change his perceptions. Remember, we learned about that on this episode. I also will have some very big news about a theme week that is coming to bulletproofaction.com in October. I will make that announcement next week during our Thundering Mantis podcast. Toyman, do you have anything else before we go?
Nope, just stay tuned for No Surrender Cinema. Like I said, you will most likely be able to expect a Terminator Woman review. It's one that does not pop up on streaming. I was able to find it on Daily Motion, so I'm going to go back and watch that one because it has been a while. I do have a copy that doesn't really hold up well. This one has a little bit more clarity to it, so it'll be easier to review and easier to get you listeners able to watch and follow along with No Surrender Cinema should you see fit. And then I might be going back down the old school Kung Fu rabbit hole for the second NSC this month. We'll see how that one goes. So please stay tuned to those columns coming at you very soon on bulletproofaction.com.
Ryan Campbell, anything else you want to say?
No, just check out that Alien review. Head over to the YouTube channel. Certainly appreciate it. And again, let us know what you want to see for the next video version of World's Most Dangerous, and we'll make it happen. And thank you all for listening.
Yes. And we've once again crossed the 90-minute mark on this episode of the Bulletproof podcast. I don't know how we keep doing it, but we do it. I don't know. Next week might be...
I thought this would be a short one. I thought we'd get through this one pretty quick.
I thought we would too, but things happen. We have to mock Toyman as often as possible. And other things happen as well.
And Carara for being hot and not getting the job done.
Oh, she is dead.
Has any character in a movie been that hot and just not been able to close the deal?
She was one horny woman. If we have like year-end awards, I think she would win most horniest. Maybe we will do that. I'm going to put that on my list of things that we should do. Because I think that would be wonderful. All right, guys, and everyone out there listening, thank you so much for doing so. And as always, stay tuned for more of the Bulletproof